Hey everybody, welcome. Seared and Smoked, Keegan here. Today we're doing part 2 of the DIY green egg table. So last time, made a nice table, got the basics down, and now we're going to take it up just a notch so that way it looks a little sharper. I had a little backyard patio project, so things look a little nicer here than they used to. You can kind of see the covered space that we got here. And now we just got to bring the green egg table, which is behind me, up to the next level. So this guy just needs a little help looking a little sharper. So let me show you what I have in mind, and then we'll go ahead and get started and work through the process. Okay, so here's our table, and it looks good, but what we're going to add is some trim work. So these areas where you just kind of see the joints meeting, we're going to add cedar trim on top of that just to finish it off looking a little nicer. And then we're going to add doors to these larger areas that, just basically, this is an area where you're going to have a lot of junk. So just to kind of cover that up, and then we're going to organize a little better. So I got some drawers to throw in there that I got at the Container Store, which are outrageously priced, but they're going to work great, so whatever. And then the only structural thing we're going to have to add for the doors is that originally these spots in the corners, there's not enough backing there. So I have these two pieces that we're going to add so there's just more support for the actual door. You kind of see how that comes together. It'll be more evident as we go through it, but we're just going to add some 2x4s to reinforce the corners to add our doors. So it'll be a nice look, just kind of an overlay door. We'll be using European hinges, so it'll look really nice and actually work really nice too. So we have some soft close hinges so it doesn't slam, etc. Be a good look. So here's a little before shot. Now let's get started. Let's get this thing decked out and looking good. Okay, so this is kind of the first phase of detailing out the green egg table. So we're done with the cedar trim, so everything just looks nice and tidy now. You don't see any joints and things of that nature. And one thing I didn't record at the end, I just added this divider so you can keep your grill grates and things of that nature, vertical stuff in there, and keep that out of the way. maximizing storage. And then this is the little unit that I purchased from the Container Store. So keep your wood chunks, things of that nature in there. Keep that out of the way. So it was kind of expensive. It was like $90. So I looked at Lowe's, all sorts of places for the right setup, and this was by far the best. So I went ahead and spent the money. So our next phase is we're going to build doors for the two large openings. I'm not going to build a door for the small opening beneath the egg because that's just easy access stuff that I use a lot, and a door would kind of just get in the way there when using the egg. So now I'll show you how to build doors for this. We're going to use offset hinges, which means you have to build the doors just a little larger than the opening. So we're going to build this out of cedar, and we'll go ahead and get started on that. But looking good, and yeah, you could leave it right here and have a nice setup, but we'll build some doors just so we don't see the junk on the inside. Okay, so I checked the dimensions of the opening that we have cut out on the green egg table, and it's 25 3/8 inches wide and 19 1/4 inches tall. And we're using overlapping hinges, so we want to make sure we're at least 3/4 overlapped on each side. And the hinges will basically make sure it's right around 3/4 of an inch on the hinge side, so any excess would just hang over more on the far side. So you don't have to be overly critical here. You just want to make sure you have enough overlap on every side that you're going to cover the opening by 3/4 of an inch is basically what I shoot for. And then the height and the lower, basically the height of the door, I'm making a little bigger than that, so it'll overlap by a little over an inch on the top and bottom because I have plenty of room, and I always feel safer just having a little more room to work with in case I want to adjust it one way or another when I go to install the doors. So if you're in a kitchen cabinet situation where you just have really critical dimensions, then you have to be more critical than this, obviously. But in this situation, it's pretty easy because we just want to make sure it's bigger than the opening by at least 3/4 of an inch, so you can choose your dimensions based upon that, and then cut your cedar to fit that door size. So in this case, we have 4 boards per door. So let's take just a little closer look at that, and then we'll start joining the pieces together. Okay, so we're looking at one panel here, one door essentially, made of 4 pieces of cedar, and each piece is right about 6 3/4 inches wide. So getting into that 27-inch width that we are looking for. It ended up being just a little over 27 inches, but that was what I was shooting for. So we're right about that, which is good. And what we're going to do now is use Craig pocket hole joinery to bring these together as one panel, and that'll probably give us enough strength. These doors don't have to be incredibly strong, they just need to do their job. So I don't anticipate having to do anything else besides use the pocket hole joinery, which we'll take a look at now. Okay, so the basic premise of the pocket hole joinery system is you can, without gluing, you can just join 2 pieces of wood together. And what we're going to do is drill holes in one piece of the wood on the side here, and the screw is going to go right through and grab onto the other piece. And on the outside of the door, you'll never see the difference. So let's just show you how this works real quick, and then we'll perform this on the doors. Okay, so we have the clamp set up, and now we're ready to drill our 2 holes to show the example. And normally when I do the doors, I'll clamp this, but just to show you how this works, we'll just kind of freehand this, but you just basically want to make sure they're actually in the holes there. And then if you just apply pressure to one side, and voila. So always do a test run, because in this case, it's either because I didn't clamp it or I didn't have the depth set right. So I'll adjust that before I do the doors with another test run. But basically that's the general idea, and it works really well. Just make sure to do your test run first, and then it's freewheeling from there. So I'll get to work on these doors and show you what they look like after they're put together. All right, so we have our door panels assembled with the pocket holes, so you can kind of see how that laid out. You don't have to be real accurate with your placement, just kind of put them, I would say that's probably every 4 to 6 inches. And there's the front of our door. One might have started to pop out right there, but that's okay. It's maybe one right there too, so I might have to back out of 2 of those a little bit. But generally it's fairly strong. What I'm gonna do to add strength to it is add several battens. So we're gonna place these like so, and we just wanna place these so they're not in the way of our hinges. So I'm leaving a couple inches on each side, and put them kind of towards the top, because our hinges are gonna be inside that just a little bit. So we're gonna do that for each door, and then we're ready to mount our hinges and then place them on our green egg table. So, all right. Now that is a sturdy door now. That should last a long time. So now we're ready to mount our hinges, get this sucker put back together. Okay, so let's talk hinges. What we're using is a European hinge, which basically means it's adjustable, and usually they're 2-piece. So you got this piece which mounts inside your frame out there in the green egg, and then this piece which mounts inset of the door. So this is gonna be, we're gonna have 2 of these, one about here, one about there. And the only trick to mounting these, I really find, is to be accurate with your measurements. And then you'll need a couple little special tools. One is a Forester bit, and these just make a nice flat little circular perfect hole for this European hinge to sit in. So this just pops right in there, and it's easy to mount that way. They're not difficult to drill. You just want to go make sure you go 1/2 inch, which is right below the lip of the Forester bit. So kind of intimidating the first time, but after you do it once or twice, it's pretty easy. The other thing that will make this easier is I always make a jig. So this is the exact size, the height of the door. And then I mark center, and then I mark where my 2 hinges are gonna go. And I can use this for both doors. It's symmetrical, so it doesn't matter if I mess up and use it this way when I mark my locations out there in the green egg table, or if I put it this way. So it works for basically a left or a right setup. So I got my center marked, and off that I measured 6 inches up in each direction for each hinge location. So we got our door marked, and then, so we got our 3 locations marked, and then the other key thing is this little template, which you can buy at any Lowe's hardware store for hinges. And this is just gonna mark the location where this, you know, this diameter is, this larger hole is gonna be drilled with a 35mm bit, and then location of our 2 screws to go along with it. So we can just slide this up and down to our 2 locations to mark the exact locations where we're gonna drill our holes, and then mount the first part of the hardware, and then go to the green egg to finish things off. So that's the general way to go about things. I really just find is measuring it once and then having this as a little guide when you go to mount things out of the green egg or wherever you're working on hinges. So recommend making some sort of jig basically. All right, let's drill some holes. Alright, so we're pretty much done with this DIY green egg table. Phase 2, which is putting on the doors, trimming it out, making this thing look pimp and also function in a pimp sort of way. I mean, soft close hinges on a DIY table, I mean that's pretty badass, I think. And they're easy to use, so let's check them out, show you the final results, and see what you think. Leave me some comments down below. If you like stuff like this, there's a little subscribe button right down there. And check things out in the future. But yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Always looking for new ideas and keep things rolling. So, all right, let's take a look. All right, so this is our final results here. You can see that the doors work nicely, soft close, so you can throw them in there and no noise, not gonna hurt your doors. On this side, we had a little paper towel holder, so that's handy. Once again, slam that close and no problem. So pretty cool. Overall, worked out pretty nice. Let's take a closer look at the hinges now, and I'll just show you how those pop on and off. Okay, so the beauty of these hinges are that they're really easy to adjust. You have these different screws here that help you adjust, you know, up and down and just the plane of the hinge. Then obviously the soft close is pretty cool. You can get them without soft close. It's usually just a couple dollars more. So these hinges are about $10 for a pair, and all you do just kind of pop those off, so it easily comes off. So it's easy to work with when you're installing things by yourself. So normally if you didn't have a European hinge, this would be all one piece, and you know, trying to connect one to the other is difficult. But here you do it separately, and then you just clip these babies right back on. There you have it. Alright, well that is a wrap on the big green egg table. So hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something. Give me a like or maybe subscribe if you want to see some future videos. And once again, leave me a comment on what you'd like to see in the future, what you think of the table, your thoughts in general. I'm interested. We'll see you next time.